Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone podcast. My name is Kathy. There has been a rhetorical question that's being asked by more and more people regarding the Idaho versus Koberger criminal proceeding that was active for more than 2.5 years in Idaho State Court through its conclusion when Mr. Koberger was sent to prison on July 23rd, 2025. And that rhetorical question is, what exactly is being hidden from the public? Some of the reasons why, in my opinion, this question is being asked is that there's no appeal of Mr. Koberger's sentence. No one else has ever been arrested. There's never been any hint of an alternative perpetrator, an accessory before the fact, an accessory after the fact, or a co-conspirator as it relates to the catastrophic events that occurred at 1122 King Road. And with these thoughts in mind, why is this case still almost as largely sealed from public disclosure as it was during the time that it was active in pretrial? There wasn't a trial, so therefore the evidence that the state indicated that it had to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt in a capital case was never brought out into an open and public courtroom. There's been many hearings when the case was active that happened behind closed doors, outside of the public domain. In some instances, those hearings weren't even noticed. So therefore, the public didn't know that there was going to be a hearing until sometime after it happened. Then there was the issue of the gag order that was in place during the more than 2.5 years that the case was being prosecuted. And on top of all of this, the fact that it will be a year come July 2nd that Mr. Koberger stood up in open court and pled guilty. And yet, 89 documents that Judge Hippler ordered to be unsealed as part of his announced process of looking at a few months at a time, starting from the end of the case and working backwards, items including evidence associated with the motions in limine January, February, and March 2025, those 89 documents have not yet been released to the public as of today, April 18th, 2026. And there has been no indication that Judge Hippler has started the process to look at documents from 2023 or 2024 that remain under seal, because there's been no court order to both sides, as he did in the past, asking them for their input as to whether or not documents should be released or not, and if they were to be released with redactions. And then after that happened, came the order, like the third court order in October, where Judge Hippler asked both sides for their input, that led directly to that December 18th, 2025 order directing the release of the still unreleased 89 documents. Matters seem to have come to a standstill with no explanation, which makes everything all the more puzzling and makes many people more and more, as each day goes by, asking, why are things still so under seal? What exactly is being hidden from the public? This will now conclude this episode of the Indie Zone. Thank you for joining us here today.